G'day. How you going, everybody? It's Tozzy here. Just going to have a bit of a stream with Finbear if I can get him on, and we're just going to chat about all things PulseChain. Congratulations for everyone that PulseChain has launched, and we finally made it through to the other side. So no more sooning for us. I'm just stoked that it's actually launched, and we've got lots of things we can play with. So I was going to go through some links and things. I normally go through like some cool links that I find throughout the week or fortnight, and share it with you in case like there's things that you may or may not have come across. So yeah, first of all, I probably just wanted to chat about the price. I guess it's pretty disappointing start. It is what it is. But the main thing is that it's out, and now we can kind of start that 2-year wait period for when for the next bull sort of cycle. So launching in a bear, it's always going to be like this. An initial sort of enthusiasm at the start, and then the sort of market sentiment is the predominant factor. So yeah, just looking at this TA on BTC, I'm still bullish on the overall market. So this is the weeklies, and the 10-week moving average is still above the 20-week moving average. So this is since basically the start of the year. We've been seeing this pump. And when the price is above the 10 MA and the 20 MA, that's just like, basically bull mode. And also, so the price above the 10 MA and above the 20, and then the 10 is above the 20. So I was kind of hoping that we would get this 20 MA to cross over the 200 week, and then that would have been bullish as well. Unfortunately, it looks like it's gotten super close, but hasn't crossed over yet. And then the price has taken a dive. So the price is actually down below the 20 MA. So that's like sort of short-term bearish. But, we'll see. It depends on what happens in the next few weeks. If the 10 MA crosses over the 20, then I'll be like, confirmed bear. But at the moment it's in a bit of an indecision, and I think that was sort of shown maybe by the Fed have just done a pause on the interest rates hikes, but it was like a hawkish pause. So they were talking about maybe still raising them in the future. So sort of indecision at the moment, and definitely when there's like this uncertainty in the markets, that's never a good thing. So yeah, the price of EHEX has got hammered after the fork. PHEX is still looking good, and PLS, surprised that it's actually gone below the SAC. So it is what it is, but I thought that PLS would bounce off that SAC price. But I guess it always boils down to what you consider the SAC price, like if it's at 0001, or if you had like a 2x multiplier or whatever, then it's more like quadruple 05. So and then being able to DCA in once the bridge opened, and then get some good prices, I think that set people up as well. So yeah, check out Deck Screener. Oh, it looks like we've got Finbear in the house. That's awesome. Let me see if I can just bring him up. Hey,
well, good.
How you going, man?
Good morning, sir. How's it going?
Good to see you.
I've only spoken with you like
afternoon.
Yeah, we've only spoken on all the chats and a bit on the phone.
Yes. Sorry,
so it's great to see you in person, as it were.
Yes. So awesome to see you as well. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to having multiple people. Can you hear me okay with the mic and everything?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, cool,
people in the
man. So
chat,
I've
put a lemon in the chat if you hear us okay
oh
or
holy shit, I
something.
didn't even check the chat. There's whole heaps of
Yeah,
people
it's
going in
fine.
here.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Cool,
yeah.
cool. Good to see. Yeah.
I spammed the link
Buzz, Mango
everywhere.
Junkie. Awesome, man. I might have to turn my headphones up so I can hear you better. Um, cool, man. So yeah, I'm a bit of a noob at sort of having multiple people on and stuff. So you have to like excuse me a little bit. I've normally just used to streaming by myself, but that is not as much fun.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, good to have you
it's
on.
like you're in charge of the entire thing when you do it by yourself, and sometimes you just need a break to have a drink of water or
Yeah,
whatever, and it feels like, what am I gonna?
true.
uh, So what's going on? I gotta. Everybody watch me have a zip. Oh, Tears of Hex
Exactly.
haters, nice.
Good point. Yes, yes, represent. That's it. Yeah.
That's
So I
freaking
mean,
awesome, man.
that's the funny thing. I was looking at these these the TA and looking at the big picture of the markets and stuff, and it's easy to think if you're thinking about like a 4-year cycle, that you have this 1 year of bear, and then maybe a year and a half of sideways, and then maybe a year and a half of bullish
Mm,
price action. But when you're in that sort of year to year and a half of just sideways, if you're zooming right in, it can seem like, oh, the price is going up, oh, the price is going down, oh, the price is
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're not seeing the forest from the trees. um, and if
yeah.
you're emotionally attached,
It's very draining emotionally. It's
yeah,
I've sometimes I've compared it to like driving in an old car, and there's like a small hole in the wheel case, and you can sort of see the asphalt next to the steering wheel, and you're like, oh my god, it's like looks horrible there because you can't see where we're going. So you need to sort of look up
yeah,
a bit and take like a
exactly,
longer time frame into it. And this is
yeah,
the part
yeah,
where, like, it's amazing that, like, as we're about to take off, this is when we shake all the, like when there's a big sailing boat or something, there's barnacles and shit on the side of the boat because
yeah.
it's been stationary for too long. And this is when we shake out the last barnacles before we are sort of sleek
Awesome.
and ready to go.
I like that analogy. That's wicked. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Anything that has real meaning takes a lot of preparation, and there's a lot of complexity behind it. It's not a simple, aircraft, flying at whatever 30,000 feet and all this sort of stuff. Someone has to. There's a lot of moving parts to get that to run smoothly. So sometimes when we look at complex systems, it's easy to simplify or oversimplify them. Um, so yeah, I'm just playing the long game. I've just been, trying to DCA and just think about the next the bull run, and just sort of trying
Yeah.
to get my positions ready for that. And I think that helps me sort of think about the bigger picture rather than just looking at the price like today. Because unless I'm selling today, that price is kind of arbitrary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's irrelevant. Yeah.
Irrelevant. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's why the staking is such an awesome mechanics, because you sort of you remove the even the need for looking at the prices. If you
Yeah.
have quarterly stakes, the price now, it makes no difference.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly right. And I think a lot of people have gone for that staking purely for the less stress sort
Mm,
of aspect, because that's ideally what the staking thing is about, is that you can set and forget, and you don't have to just mentally be on this emotional roller coaster. You can kind of just go and live
yeah,
your life, and then just
and
come back and
and and and allow me to remind all the new guys that a bag of hex, which was $1 million at the top, you can buy one for what, like 7 grand.
It's crazy, isn't it?
You can do
Yeah,
amazing laddered stakes with these prices because we're gonna go back and we're gonna bust through the old all-time highs like nobody's business.
that's
So
awesome.
now,
That's what I
is
want to
the
hear.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Now is the time to get all your friends in, to get your mom in, to get your grandma in. You can even tell your dad if
Yep.
you want to. And I suggest you practice with the friends who you know they don't like you. You practice on them. You practice onboarding on the
Yeah. So
guys
either
you
way,
have a slight distaste for, because the way I see it is you can only win. Like
that's
either
right.
they get in and you make a new best friend, or they don't get in and they'll fucking hate you when you made it. But
No harm, no foul.
at least you can say, "Hey, I tried, man. Look at the price. This is exactly when I told you. You told me to fuck off, and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Please
definitely
step on
think
my
that
golden yacht."
check out my golden rocket car.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Flying
or
RV,
Tangent. His what was his fleet of private
private
jets.
jets. Yeah, we were
Yeah, I
talking
thought
about
that.
that. That we should.
Yeah,
I
we were
should
talking
have
about that
noticed. Yeah, like
as a top
how?
signal.
Yeah, how didn't we see it back then? Like when you're shopping for airports or on
Yeah, not
stream,
just a jet,
that
but like a
should
fleet
be
of jets.
that. Yeah, that should be a topping signal. But
The
no,
only
you know.
problem with that is Tangent is perma bullish all the time. So he's always
Yeah,
talking about like jets and stuff, like even in the bear. So I'm not sure
yeah,
that that is the best top signal, because he's just
yeah.
always like, pumped and bullish. So
Uh,
that's a good thing about him, I guess.
I wonder if his old streams, if they're on Odyssey or anywhere, or did we just
Yeah, they
lose them?
are. Most of them are lost completely, but
Oh
there's
man,
quite a few on Odyssey. There was one that I really liked when he was talking about liquidity farming, like liquidity providing and yield farming, and he was talking about choosing a pool that has the highest volume, but also relatively low liquidity, so that sort of like your volume to liquidity ratio, because that way your position represents a larger portion of the pool, so you get a larger percentage of the fees. But if there's
yeah,
lots of volume, then you're getting a lot of those transactions
yeah,
in fees.
yeah, and you're almost 100% in the other asset, and then you go down into the other asset almost 100%, and you're sort of cruising in
Yeah,
between.
right.
So you're making like almost all of the yield. Of course,
Yeah,
depending
okay.
on how much there is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was going to briefly just bring up the farms, because that's what I've been really keen on lately. So and sort of get your opinion on it as well.
let's go.
Um, yeah, let me see if I can do this
I'm
easily.
really, I'm really looking forward to the PulseX one-sided liquidity staking, where
Okay.
I could just
Yeah.
stake the PulseX. I'm really looking forward to it because I, I've I've not done any
Y-
moves yet regarding like LP things yet,
The
and I feel like
farms. Oh,
I've
okay.
yeah, I've lost out on quite a bit of like, is it profits,
Yeah,
LP
the
rewards?
APR has gone down. Yeah, the APR has definitely gone down from when it started, like hugely. And then there was this whole version one, version two sort of situation where if you're part of the V1 farms, you're not getting fees um, from the pools, but you are earning ink.
Mm,
So I was mainly keen on the ink, to be honest, because the APR, like if you look at some of these ones, like say this is PLS die, uh, you can look at the APR. So 261% APR. It's got a farm multiplier of 20x, and it kind of tells you. I don't know if a lot of people actually click on this, ROI calculator, but it's kind of handy, and it kind of tells you about how. So you get 1 ink per second, and then times the multiplier. So this is a 20x farm multiplier. So you get as much ink, like times 20, and then so this APR is like, it's really good in terms of the ink, and then you can use that ink to sort of DCA as well. Like you can sell, you can sort of harvest your yield and then throughout the weeks or whatever, and you can sort of DCA into your favorite asset. So I actually think that's a really cool thing about the PulseX farms. The other thing is, we're talking about like, using like Tangent as a when you're talking about the jets as a time to take profit. Sometimes if you're thinking, and I mean, yeah, lots of people have those metrics, and I guess I'm just joking around, but I think Somi, have you seen that your friend Somi streams?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I watched almost all of them. He's hilarious.
He's piss funny. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really funny. So he was using that Silvertooth guy as like a bottom indicator, which was
Wasn't
a little bit
wrong.
sad, but
Wasn't wrong.
yeah, no, I think he's spot on. I mean, that's what capitulation is, right? Is when you see these capitulation wicks where people just throw in the towel.
That's the pink hair of capitulation right there, man.
Oh, the pink hair of capitulation. That is always the case. Oh yeah. That's the thing, isn't it?
That's what bear markets do to people. And I watched Silvertooth back when he was into Pillar, fucking Populous, all the Cliff High shit from 2017. And I watched it. Like I used to follow him back then. I didn't watch his videos like regarding Hex because, well, to be frank, he came in quite a bit after me, it feels like, and
gotcha.
It didn't feel like he had too much to give. But I did comment on the first video that I saw that he made. Like, I think it's like a couple of years ago at least. I did comment on the video that I love seeing him in Hex with the rest of us because finally he has a chance to win in crypto, because he like I lost alongside with him on all that crap in 2017.
On some of those other ones.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. I didn't realize
so much lost opportunity there.
I don't know him really from a bar of soap, so I won't really comment. But one thing which was the red flag for me was that he started his own token.
He did.
Yeah, at some point, and it was like, I think he was going to give it away or something to people, but like, I don't know. That's just always a bit of a red flag for me. That and when you start charging people for your knowledge, when you start just going, subscribe to my whatever thing, and I'll give you all of the alpha.
You can talk to me for half an hour for $250. Mango Junkie, you can call me for a $5 whenever you feel like it. I would never charge you $250. But yeah, well, but I mean, it might have a point if you think about like what Richard has said, that people don't appreciate stuff when you give it out for free. So in that sense,
that's a good point. That's a good counterpoint. That's a very good counterpoint. And I mean, look, I do know, as a professional, we charge, quite a lot for my industry, and I appreciate when people charge for their services. But it's just when you have like, most of the people in the chat or whoever in the community almost know as much as me, then I would feel like it's a bit rich to kind of charge people for stuff that I'm just learning. And plus, it's like you're giving it back. Like people are teaching me, and then I'm teaching other people. So, I don't know, when people start charging for that sort of turns me off.
There's an amazing amount of information out there from or by the hexagons already. So it kind of feels like charging them hundreds of dollars. You have to do it pretty fast once somebody discovers Hex, because pretty soon
Mm,
they're going to discover that all of this information is out there for free anyways. So you wouldn't have to pay anybody. So you maybe have
yeah,
like a month, 2 months, where you have to get somebody into your thing and start,
yeah, and that's
banging
what
their
I've loved
credit
about
card.
the yeah, and like I've loved that about the Hex community is that they've always been very forthcoming with the knowledge and sharing and trying to like pump each other up and help each other out. So yeah, I've always thought that's great. So and that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with these farms because the more people that get into these farms, like the less money I make because
Yeah.
you know it's literally like your position.
But doesn't it also
Um,
mean that it takes longer for the price to go up? Because
if the
the order
liquidity
book
is
is,
high.
yeah, order book is way thicker.
Mm.
So it
Yeah,
takes
I was
longer.
talking about that with class as well, and it seems like people forget that one of the reasons why Hex did so well was because it had relatively thin liquidity at the start, and it was enabled it to run. So if everyone is farming and LPing in this really thick liquidity, it might be hard for it to. I mean, it will decrease the volatility and make it hard to move up, but I think there's only sort of $9 million in the bids and asks for PLS, and you can see that on on Deck Screener. If you go to PulseChain and then just order by liquidity, you can actually see, um, like, say for example, PLS in DAI. Oh, sorry, that's USDC. But yeah, there's 18 million liquidity, and there's basically 9 million of USDC and 9 million of PLS. Um,
Yeah.
so I wonder if there is a sweet spot um, with the thickness of the liquidity where you want it thick enough so that whales can get good order execution, so that they're not getting slippage on their big
Mm.
buys, but not so thick that it can still run and push the price up when people are buying.
Yeah. Well, judging by the past 24 hours, it looks like the liquidity is just fine. Like PLSX
Yeah,
doing almost 30%. God damn it.
I mean,
Not
this
too
is the
not too
thing.
bad.
This is the thing is, you know, you have to, Richard Hart is from my point of view, that's one of the reasons why I'm in this space is because I recognize that he knows a lot about this stuff, and then he's passed all that knowledge onto his community, and then they've sort of figuring it out as well. So yeah, this is what you're talking about. The prices is come right back
Yeah.
up,
That's of course to do
nearly to
with
that.
the pairing as well. Like all of our liquidity
Yeah,
is funded within the same ecosystem. So
yeah, that's
so
really interesting. Yeah, the liquidity bonding, like you say.
yeah. So like PLSX and Pulse look very similar if you look at how much they've gone up, or Hex and Pulse, they're almost
Yeah,
identical. So everything
yeah,
is so connected. It's like one of those potato sack races. Everybody's in the same sack.
yes, yes. It's just this
Yeah.
infinite daisy chain of legs in sacks. That's
Yeah.
right. Um, uh, but it's interesting to think about that when you use the PulseX router. So you might be selling Hedron, for example, and then but that Hedron might actually be sold for Hex, which is then sold for PLS, which is then sold for DAI. So how it's routed, the router will always choose the pass which gives you the least amount of slippage.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you're selling, whatever it is, Maxi for USDT or something like that, where there may not be a large pool like that, it routes it through these other pools. And then so the thickness of these pools in between the pairs will sort of give the router like a path to minimize the slippage. So that also shows how they are bonded as well. And that's Hart's law effectively.
Yeah. This is
So one
gonna be an interesting summer. It's gonna be an interesting summer to see how this thing works out. I'm just getting ready to go on holiday with the kids soon.
Perfect. And I'm like, that's it. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I can't touch anything. I gotta take all my computer stuff and give it to a mate to sit on this, dude.
Because oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Set it.
This is a perfect time to take off for a day or two.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man. Yeah. No, I mean, we've sort of getting our positions sorted. Obviously, people need to get their security and everything sorted, and then it's like once you do that, then you can just kind of, you can still DCA and do your farming and all that stuff. But ideally, you want to be able to just walk away and come back and be like, when it's all green candles.
Yeah.
So two things.
Why
go ahead.
The farming thing. It worries me in the sense that I would end up with a bigger bag of the least valuable thing, and I don't know
if you went away on holiday.
I don't know if getting the ink token covers the loss.
Impermanent loss. Well, yeah.
Because ink might not appreciate in the same sense as the more expensive asset you gave up on your LP.
Perfectly said. Yep, 100%.
So that's why I'm really looking forward to the PulseX single-sided staking, because then I wouldn't have to worry about. I could just plop all of it in there. I got no need for it. I don't need that kind of money for anything. So I could just let it there for freaking years.
That's it. Yeah. You can just stake it, and I mean, I think a few people. There's also the Earn protocol. I think the Power City guys are going to do something like that. And there's a few other things. Obviously, like you can become a validator and you effectively.
I'll probably do that as well. Yeah, I'll probably do that as well, because I'm getting an optical cable duck into the house. Wow. So cool. I'm gonna be super fast soon.
You'll be
I saw the guys digging the cable into the ground about a kilometer from our house, so it should be here quite soon.
Awesome. That's wicked. Yeah. So just briefly talking about that impermanent loss thing. So there's quite a good few calculators. Like there's this one, I think, Goldkey. Shout out to Goldkey. He's done and Dipcatcher. They've done heaps of really cool sites and things like that to help the community. So there's this impermanent loss calculator where you can basically say, like, so say for example you put in like $5,000 or whatever, and you're in like a PLS USDC or PLS DAI pool, and then say the price, which is roughly 0001, and then the stable is still at 1. So if the price did a 5x, then you would basically, if you were holding that PLS, you would actually be down 25% than if you had it in that farm, or in the pool. So it's because obviously when you have the two prices, they move against each other, then you would have been better just holding the asset that was going up, right? So so this calculator is really good for calculating the impermanent loss, and and that's why. So I was just saying it was roughly 25%, and then this is a good guide as well. So if you get a 5x price change, we just saw that 25%. If you get like a 2x price range, you're actually only losing like 5%. So it's not as much as you'd think. And of course, it depends on the pair. And you've got to keep in mind as well that because this is Uniswap v2 fork, you still have the same dollar amount that you put in. So when people think of impermanent loss, they think sometimes that they're losing money. And it's like, no, you're just losing potential gains, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You still have the same amount of money that you put into the pool. When you remove it, you still have the same amount of money. It's just distributed in a different proportion of tokens.
yeah,
So yeah, I wouldn't be using the farms and then and go on holiday for 3 months.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for like, a week or something, as long as you're keeping an eye on it and you know that the price of the two assets haven't run more than like a 2x, then
yeah. And I
it's
suppose,
probably not as bad as you think.
you could already think ahead a bit if you know you're gonna take out some profits at some point in the future, like
Yeah.
eventually, like come 2025, some
Oh
point
yeah,
it
yeah,
feels
yeah.
like
You got to.
you have a feeling that you probably want to pay off your mortgage or whatever. You could put in like several smaller LP positions from like different
Right.
accounts or whatever, in
Hmm.
expectation of exiting the position once the price has reached some point. You could exit one of the positions and leave like, I don't know, four of them running, leave them there, but just take out the DAI or USDC and go and say hi to the bank manager, slap the cash
Yeah.
teller on the butt, and just waltz your way out of there.
Just be like, roll in with your Lambo and just be
Yeah.
like, here,
What's up,
I'm
fuckers?
here to that's yeah. I mean, I think taking profits is important, and I've kind of talked about this. There's different strategies. Some people say, look, you could take like 2% every doubling, or 5% or every doubling. But I mean, I guess as it does more and more doubles, then it's probably more like how close you are to the top of the cycle, because
Mm,
you don't want to be taking out too much at the bottom of the cycle, but you want to be aggressively taking profits as you go into that
yeah.
euphoria stage.
Say
So
say say the first doubling you take out a grand, and then it doubles
yeah, like,
9 more times. How much did you lose because you took out a grand at the
because you took
beginning?
out,
Like, yeah,
yeah. So
that's
you might
ugh.
start with 1% and then 2%, 5%, 10%, and then maybe in the full euphoria mode of, December 2025, you might be taking like 40%, profits on a double,
Yeah.
because it won't last forever and it will go down. So, and that's the interesting thing about, we were talking about before about how the price only makes a difference when you buy and when you sell. So the price being really low, now, if you're looking at the trees rather than the forest, it doesn't really matter, because if you're not selling, it only matters the price that you sell at. So, but likewise, that it doesn't matter if your portfolio is in the millions of dollars. If you don't sell any, then that doesn't matter
Mm,
either, because you
no.
actually have to extract that value as well. So
Yeah.
it is important that people think about that, and look at their strategies for DCAing out of a bull
But
run.
isn't it fun?
And
Isn't it fun in the chats when noobs are complaining and and you go like, "Oh, how many million are you down this season?" like,
yeah, and it's
if
like
you're not down a
paper
million in
gains.
crypto, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's paper gains, right? So it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I was staked out for 15 years, but then now,
yeah.
my money would have been worth $1 million. It's like, no, because you couldn't actually get that out of your stake or whatever. So um, yeah, so paper gains and paper losses shouldn't be taken too seriously, I think.
Yeah, they're
But
they're equally as valuable or not as valuable.
yes, that
They're on
is
paper.
equally
They're in the
irrelevant. Yeah.
future where they're supposed to be. Like I like
Yeah.
keeping most of my profits firmly in the future because that's where I'm gonna need
Yeah.
most of it. So
And
I'm
that's what
fine
this
with the
is.
staking. I think it's staking is
Yeah.
so good for it. Like
Yeah.
people often asked about like, well, how much is your bag worth and what are you gonna do with it? And I'm like, it's worth a lot of money and I'm not going to be doing anything with it because it's in the future where there's no tax repercussions or anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean that's what this is. Like, this is investing. This is not. It's not a game. Like, it's literally is setting ourselves up for the future. And I think when you're looking at those charts and things like that, you know, these moving averages are like a lagging indicator, right? So they're only telling you what's just happened in the last 10 weeks or 20 weeks. So you really have to be confident in the future and your ability to predict the future to be investing. And Somi, you know, your friend Somi talks about that a lot. I think that's really important. So if you know that, you know, you've got a good community, good fundamentals and things like that, then it gives you that confidence that you can kind of look at the price and go, oh yeah, well, we'll wait and see until, you know, the bull market comes along, and then we'll start talking prices. But if not, then just DCAing, bringing your average cost down and getting your bags like larger. So that was one point I was going to make was, if people sometimes are hoping to get like a 10,000x or whatever, and it's because that, you know, if they put in like $100 and they put in 10 and they get 10,000x, then look, I made 100 grand. And
a million.
It's so silly because it's like, if you're waiting for that 10,000x, you would never get there, because for one, most people would sell out if they got 100x, you know, and two, you'll never be able to time that right. So if your bags are big enough, you don't need a 10,000x. You only need a 50x or something like that, or a 20x.
Yeah. Imagine
then you've got
imagine dropping a couple of zeros from the PLS or PLSX price now. I'd be set.
Even
Kids would
1
be
cent
set.
PLS.
Their kids would be set. We'd be like, fine, fuck it. We'll never work again. I'm going to be doing aquarelle paintings for the rest of my life, smelling, like sniffing daffodils in the yard.
That's
shooting
it. And that's
rabbits
what it's meant to be about.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant to be about, is to be able to give us that freedom to enjoy our lives and do that stuff. So, I think, then you have to, the risk is you have to put more economic energy in, but then the risk is also lower because you don't have to wait for that 10,000x. You know, you can start cashing out when you're getting even just 5x's and 10x's and things like that.
Somi has spoken about it on many videos. Like, you have to come in with a bigger clip to make a difference. Like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to kill it with $500 now. It was way easier in 2013 when I got in.
And that's a multiple cycle viewpoint as well. Once you've been through that first cycle and you're thinking, oh, hang on a tick, you know, my $50 was never going to make me rich. Like, you've got to.
But if you're a young guy in your early 20s or something,
you've got time.
Taking that $500 and staking it for 15 years is like the best strategy you can do, because you have the other part of the equation. You have more time to wait. You have no expenses.
Yep.
You've got no kids yet. Hopefully soon, but not yet.
You can disposable income.
All that like low cost base of living. Girlfriend is happy.
May not have mortgages, like
exactly.
The interest rates may not affect you. So
so
and
just
that's
doing
the
long ones. You're playing with your strengths, doing long stakes when you're a young guy. And if you feel like being a trader and like a, you know, really going hard for like the 5-minute candles, you can do it after you've done your best investment, after you've done your 15-year stake, 12-year stake, 10-year stake. And if you have any money left, go ahead, see where that takes you. But we know what's gonna happen to that. Like, you're gonna you're gonna feel good for a while. You're gonna be able to do it for a couple of months, and then wrecked. Rickety wrecked.
Rickety wrecked. Yeah. So that's important, isn't it? Like, because it's, if you wait 10 years and then you think about setting up a a 10 years stake, you're going to be like kicking yourself that you didn't just set it
Yeah.
up at the start.
Oh my God!
And
Imagine what the T-shares are gonna cost in 10 years, like in hex terms.
that's it. And it's
Oh,
not going
oh,
anywhere.
oh.
Like this contract is always, it's immutable. It's always going to be there. So, and if people will just start taking advantage of it in the future, so it's good to be able to accumulate now at these prices. Because I must admit, when I got in, and I'm not like a full OG or anything like you and a lot of other people.
But you came in
So when I
before
got
big payday.
no, I got in at
Oh,
like 1 cent. I got in at like
wow.
one
Well,
cent
now is a great time
on
for
the
you
way
to
up.
make up. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
so
make up
now
for
I'm
the
like,
damage now. Like you're killing it now
yeah.
if you're buying in.
Oh well, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the DCA. It's amazing how much you lower your average buy when you start to buy at these low levels. And so
My
one thing I was going to talk about with that. Sorry to interrupt. You go ahead.
go on. You had a plan, but where you wanted to talk about
Oh, I
something.
just
I'm just
I
shouting stuff here.
That's cool. I'm struggling with multiple screens, so apologies if I keep turning my head away. But so one thing I was going to say is the cool thing about these farms is you can set it up so that uh, you're almost forcing yourself to take profits in a way. So if, for example, and this worked out for me, and it may not work out for everyone, but when I saw that, the price of PLS went from, it was like 405 when you first could bridge in, and then it went up to 3028.
Wow.
There was a point where I was like, that was when I was ready to start getting into the farms. So I actually sold some PLS and I went into like this DAI PLS farm.
Killer move.
And
You got a lot of
yeah,
PLS on the way down. It's like you
so yeah,
DCA into
it
PLS.
was a forced DCA. Yeah, because I took, and we're not talking like large percentages of the total stack, but I recognized that it was due for a correction because it had gone up like, a
Mm,
4x or something. And
yeah.
then I took some of that, sold it into a stable, and then I paired it with the PLS. So then as the price of PLS went down, I was buying it back at a lower price than I sold it at.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
also
getting
being
paid.
perfect.
And getting paid.
Yeah. And it worked out amazingly well. And
Killing
I was
it.
like, this is wicked. I was like, the farms are the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
So then there was a point where the price got so low where I was just like, I can't buy out this PLS fast enough. So I just ended the farm and I took that stables and then I bought more PLS because it had gone back down to like 0001. So it would kind of
Yeah.
force me to sell it at 0028 and then buy it at 0001. So
That's
you can
like
kind of do
that's a third of the cost you sold at. So
exactly.
you like
It's
tripled
amazing.
the PLS you put in
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
because people
So
worry that,
did we just come up with a perfect plan for the coming bull market? We set up
well,
several
no.
LP positions on the way up, and then we close the LPs as we feel the price should be like coming down, or
I
we
think,
feel like this is the money I need for
yeah.
my living. This is the money that I'll probably use to rebuy once we do the 90% thing. That's the money that you'd put in the LP position, and then you'd be
Yes.
filling your bags on the way down. Perfect, man.
Yeah.
Imagine
I
if
think
we'd
that,
done that for 2 years now.
yes,
Like sold
exactly. Yeah.
Hex
And
at 50 cents, did the LP position. Now that we're at
yeah.
1 cent,
And
sub
keep in
1
mind
cent.
the gas fees on Ethereum were prohibitive. So we couldn't have really have done that because the gas, it cost you $200 to put in an LP position and all this sort of stuff. So it makes sense to be able to do that on Pulse because it takes it's like 30 cents to put in your farms and then take it out. And so, but yeah, what you were saying is it is the perfect well, it is a good strategy. I think it worked well for me. When the market has gone up and you're waiting for a correction, is to then, rather than just selling, just putting it into that stablecoin PLS pair, because then you start buying it on the way down. If the price goes up, if it keeps going up though, you will get that impermanent loss that we talked about, where, if it goes up by does a 5x, then you miss out on 25% of the gains.
What if it does a 20x? Could you change the price from 0005 to 0020? What's the
57%? 57%.
That's still like half of the bag is in stables at that point.
Yeah, and so you've missed out on 57% of potential gains that you could have had if you kept it in the asset that went up.
Okay,
so that's the best way to explain.
So you would have like 10x your monetary value instead of 20. Did I get it correctly?
Yes.
Because you've traded some of your more expensive token for the DAI, or yeah. Okay.
And
cool.
so that's not the end of the world. Like, having too much stablecoin is not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's one of those problems you wish you would have had for several years.
Exactly. So that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, oh no, I could have made more. Yeah, but you actually did make like quite a lot as well. So having too much DAI. So people, I don't know, people were really, I think, overly cautious about the farms, particularly if the price of that asset that you want is dropping and you've got it in a stable pool, like stable coin pool, like DAI, USDC, then you end up taking profits, and then as that asset goes down, you end up buying it at a lower price. So and earning ink for the privilege. So I do like that idea. And even likewise, if you pair the PLS with wrapped ETH, right?
Yeah.
So PLS goes up, and then you're like, oh no, I'm getting a bunch of ETH. But then ETH is a pretty good asset as well, right? Like,
it's not like dollars. Oh no. This is worthless.
No, I'm never going to be.
I can't never end my stakes on Ethereum now.
Yeah, it's not like I fully need this ETH to end my stakes on the Ethereum side anyway. Like,
that might be a good way to get some. Like, we're gonna be paying through our fucking noses in a few years, ending our stakes on ETH. So it might not be a bad idea to have a PLS wrapped ETH pair.
ETH.
Yeah. Just to
and
end
look,
your
it's
stakes.
a good asset. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not not as bad as fiat. I mean, it's better than fiat, right? So
and Vitalik doesn't dump on your head every year. And the last time he only dropped the price like 7% or something when he did.
Yeah, but I mean, cycle tops are a fair game. But I mean, if you look at the monetary supply being inflated, whatever it is, 7% linear growth, and it's a doubling every 10 years, and then so real estate is doing the same thing, and then so if you're lucky, and then so the money, if you sold a house, you're only barely keeping up with inflation, and then plus all the other houses are going up at the same rate. So unless you've got multiple houses,
you're only
going
anything.
sideways.
Yeah.
So having an asset like cashing out into Ethereum, could be worse things, because at least that could have some huge upside as well in the future. And like you say, we need it to end the stakes on the Ethereum side. So that's a good way of doing it. And
I would rather do it. Yeah, I would rather do it like that than like swap some of my Pulse directly to ETH, because then I'm just pumping wrapped ETH on another chain.
Yeah. And particularly if the ETH has run up to $4,000 again, or even higher, it goes to 10 grand, and then you have to buy that ETH to end your stakes on the Ethereum side. It's better to have some as like a hedge, I guess.
Yeah.
And then so the other thing is like the Hex PLS pair. This is like my favorite pair for when the market is going up, because we talked about when PLS is going down, that's DAI pool is really cool, or the wrapped ETH pool is really cool. But the Hex PLS, I mean, if they're bonded in liquidity, and you can go
That's the
and
second
just
high.
check out.
That was like $45 million or something in that pool.
Oh yeah, if you look at like Hex PLS, you're right, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the second
And
largest
so
pool.
Hex has actually been doing really well against. Oh, sorry, this is just the USDC. Let me go against. This is a little trick for anyone that hasn't done that. You can just price like Hex versus PLS rather than just having it in dollars, right? Like that's the price, 1.3 cents. But you price it in PLS, and then you know whether. So say you're harvesting your ink, and you're thinking, all right, well, what do I DCA into? You might want to look at which asset is going up at the moment with respect to another asset. So at the moment, Hex is actually going up with respect to PLS.
Yeah.
It's like if you were putting your harvested ink into Hex here, then you're actually doing better than if you were putting that harvested ink into PLS.
Yeah.
But effectively, this is relatively flat. Like it started at so if we go, and this, I've just got like a test wallet here with like a few dollars worth of Pulse in it. But like say you were just saying, whatever one yeah, so it's 140 PLS. So this I think started at around about 100 PLS per hex.
Yeah.
And
Out
the
of
EHEX was like,
curiosity, what's
yes, mate.
the hex to hex on ETH ratio now? Because
1.6.
if you
Yeah, they're starting to
if you switch it the other way around, I think it shows that the
0.6 to yeah. And that's, you can do that on here as well. Like, so most people, know this, but if you're looking at the EHEX PHEX pair, and then you have it priced in, in hex, so it's 0.62. If you're talking about the EHEX, will buy, 0.62 of PHEX. But you can use these three dots here, and you can invert the pair, and then you can go.
then you get the ratio.
PHEX is buying 1.6
Yeah.
EHEX, per PHEX. So, but yeah, these farms, the PLS hex farm, I really like it. The API is not as high, but if they're bonded in liquidity, you're going to have like heavily bonded in liquidity. You're going to have less of price movement between them. So Hex PLS.
So you're gonna seesaw up on either one of them because of the bonding.
Yeah.
So if the other one goes up,
100,
it drags the other one with it because of Hart's law.
Yeah. So you might end up with more Hex or more PLS. At the moment, if you had it in this pool, you're actually buying PLS, right? Because the price of Hex is going up. So you're actually selling your Hex and buying PLS. But that's not a bad thing. Like for me, like I'm like,
No,
oh no, I'm
yeah.
getting more PLS. That's awesome. That's
Oh,
actually what I
no.
wanted to do.
Oh no!
And then it's like it goes the other way, and it's like, oh no, I'm buying Hex, and you think, oh, I'm going to have to do some big fat stake. Like that's wicked. So
yeah,
and you can always just sell it at the end, right? Like if you had more of one asset and you had some predisposition towards the other, you could just sell it for the other asset, right? Like you'd eat a little bit of a permanent loss, but that's why you get the incentive token.
yeah.
To
So
offset that.
out of the crypto to other crypto and not a stable pairs, would you say Hex to PLS or hex to PLSX is the best pair to be in? Hex to PLS must be the
Um,
best.
I think there's only a hex to PLS pair, a farm, I should say. I haven't gone into the V2 pools. So the V2 pools, you can just provide liquidity, and you just earn fees when people go between them. So I was in. There is no farms for V2. Like, yeah, it's just the pools. But if and then you've got the PLSX single-sided pools as well. So I was kind of holding on to a lot of PLSX because I wanted to do the single-sided staking, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is a hex to PLSX farm. There's only hex to PLS. So, but then there's PLS to PLSX. So if you're getting too much PLS and what you wanted was PLSX, well, then you just put it into this farm.
Yeah, and if you look at the liquidity, it's almost double. Like PLSX to wrapped pulse is almost double in size of the liquidity pool to PLS hex pair.
PLS to wrap pulse is huge. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
So you could
and
do
so you
it
get a
with
less.
yes, less slippage. So yeah, like you said,
you get a less portion of that total pool.
Yeah, but there's also less slippage. So if you have to trade your PLS to PLSX, you get less slippage because you're trading in a bigger pool than where you came out from. It looks 100%. Like somebody put
that's one
a lot
other
of
thing
thought
that I
into
really.
this.
It's almost as if someone did put a lot of thought into it. You're right.
Yeah.
One thing is, though, it's good because we've actually had 2 years to play with this stuff and we know what we're talking about. But one thing is, I would say for people who maybe are not, really au fait with all of this, is just to be super careful when you're doing a swap, because there are V1 and V2 pools, right? As Finbear was just talking about as well. You can get a lot of slippage if you are buying something in the wrong pool. So it doesn't so much matter for your blue chip sort of RH tokens, like say PLS, PLSX, Hex, whatever. But on the shit coins, it really does matter whether you're in a V1 or V2 pool. So say, for example, if I was to buy PLS DAI, right? Now this is a V1 pool. So let's just have a look. What's the liquidity here? It's 18 million, right? So if I went and I was to, let's say I'm selling PLS for DAI and I'm selling, I don't know, 10 million PLS, right? So it's $953 that I'm getting, and I'm in V1, 953. So if I go V2, in 936. So there's $20 difference in DAI if I'm selling in V1 or V2. And that's because the liquidity is higher in the PLS DAI V1 pool than it is in the PLS DAI V2 pool. There it is there.
Yeah.
So it's only got
115,000. That's a small pool.
156,000.
Yeah, that's
Holy
a small
shit.
pool. Yeah.
That's
the other
really
one's
low.
The other one's like 18 million.
It's like 18 million. So that's the trap for young players, is like, if you're just happen to leave it set on V2 or whatever, for whatever reason, and you're like just selling stuff or buying stuff, you can eat massive slippage because you didn't check on Dex Screener which has got the highest liquidity pool. And that can be really amplified if you're talking shit coins. So like, I don't want to waste too much time on this. I think everyone kind of understands, but say you were choosing, I don't know, Pepe is on V2 or whatever. I'm sure there may not be a V1 Pepe. Oh, there is. So So it's only
32
got
grand.
32 grand in it.
Yeah.
If you were buying Pepe with PLS and you were in, so say I'm in the V2 pool, so and then say I'm going to spend $900 worth of Pepe. I don't even have it in here, so okay, maybe that's a bad example because I'm not going to be able to. I have to import the contract address.
No, but you would start moving the price against you quite a bit.
Yes,
Because
because there's only 32 grand in liquidity.
Yeah, that's like 3% of the entire pool.
And then in here in the V2, there's 118K of liquidity. So be really careful when you're doing swaps, which pool you're in. That's if there's nothing else that I've said today that's of interest. That I think is a good sort of community service thing.
That's an important lesson. Yes.
Yeah. I was going to show just briefly as well. I remember there's a few links that are really cool. There's the Hex Direct website that's got a bunch of cool links in it. I think that's the Hex Famous guy who does that, and you can access. It's just good. It's got all the links in one place. There's of course the PLS Burn site. That's really cool. You can look at the the state of the bridge or whatever, and the cost of transactions, for swaps or whatever. There's this hub thing. So this was Gold Key, and this has got some really cool links as well, particularly for newcomers to if they need to be able to revoke permissions, or that impermanent loss calculator, whatever. There's lots of cool stuff. The Dip Catcher and Gold Key again, they did this site which has a whole bunch of contract addresses. So if you wanted to pull up, to make sure that you're using like the bridged in stable coins and not the forked stable coins or whatever. Because you understand that, and most people do, but you want to make sure you're using the bridged in stables.
You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot in a hurry. Like you want to be sure you're getting the token you're actually after, and not the. I have $80 worth of copied USDC in my wallet because I couldn't be bothered with doing anything with it.
I've got quite a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you see, mine wasn't before the fork, but I ended up with a little bit of
the
forked. No, not like because I was
millions.
Anyway, it's a long story. No, I wasn't buying millions.
I got 5 million USDC worth $80
for like 10 hex or whatever, and you're getting like 10 grand worth of this fake USDC. But that I don't even. That's basically worth nothing. The forked stables, and we kind of knew it would be. So there's also this ERC20 to PRC20 comparison site, which is exactly what we were just saying, which is like if you looked at the forked USDC, this must be the bridged in ones. Yeah, that's the forked one there. So it's worth $1 on Ethereum, and it's worth basically nothing.
Yeah,
the forked version is worth basically nothing. So same with most of the forked coins, to be honest. So you've got to be real careful when you're buying these forked tokens because of the slippage, because people haven't really set up large pools for them, and then so you eat slippage if you are trying to purchase any of these things. So you need to do it in smaller amounts if you are trying to.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting once the other communities see that they have their copies here.
100%. Like say for example. Because like say for example, the Shiba community or the Chainlink community or whatever, once the bull market kicks off and people are like, oh, that's right, I've got some Chainlink or I've got some whatever.
Mm.
And then they go, also, do you know that you've got a copy of that as well? And then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, that's awesome.
And you don't have to pay $100 for a swap on the other chain. How about that? You can do it
Yes.
for pennies. That's really when it's gonna be interesting. When the guys who want to change their lives with $500, when they come in and they have an option of doing it on one or the other, that it's gonna be way more appealing to
It's
those
a
guys.
no-brainer. It's like,
Yeah,
you want to play around when it is, and the user interface is really nice, and it's quite snappy. All the transactions are fast, and so I think people are just, that the speed and the ease of use and the low fees just really make it really cool. And I think people will eventually get onto it. There was a couple of other links. I think they're pretty boring. This was from your friend Somi, which it had a really quick way of just kind of looking at what the interest rates were and what when they came out, and then what they were forecast and what they were before, and then whether the prediction for the next FOMC meeting, whether they think that there might be a hike of 70%. So you can kind of gauge, the market sentiment using those metrics, and of course the moving averages and all the rest that I sort of talked about. But yeah, man. One thing I wanted to say, which was really funny, is I actually had a meeting with a guy during the week from Finland, and
no way, man.
he looked exactly like Hexologist. I shit you
did.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Hexologist
was
has
like
this Finnish guy look. I was gonna ask him once that he probably has some Finnish relatives, like high cheekbones, bit
the
big sort
beard,
of
man.
up here.
It was
Yeah.
hilarious because I got on this Zoom chat, and it's like a mining company, and it's like Sandvik, and I was checking. There's lots of guys in the Zoom thing, and I'm going, holy shit, it's Hexologist, like Hexo, what's up? And then
Yeah.
I'm just going, that's not him, but
Yeah.
it's his doppelganger.
Yeah,
So I found the Finnish.
Yeah, I saw a
doppelganger.
guy in a shop here that was a spitting image of David Feeder. Like,
Oh, really?
beard and everything. I was like, fucking hell, man. I should have gone just stand next to him and just take a selfie or something. It was like
Yeah.
absolutely
Well, I
like
felt
David
rude
Feeder.
in the conference. I was going to
Yeah.
take a photo and be like, Hexo, doppelganger, but it's like,
Yeah.
there's no way I could have done it subtly
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was obvious.
Please say, what's up, guys, and do like this.
Yeah. See if you can just swallow the mic for a second. It'll be really funny.
Yeah. Did he speak anything? Like most of the Finns speak this rally English. Like if they're an engineer or something, we have this saying that sounds like if you watch any Finnish rally driver being interviewed, it's like,
right.
I drove around this corner and there was this tree and I hit it and I flew to the forest. And my car is a total wreck, but the team works well and the gearbox is fine. They all sound like exactly the same.
Nothing phased him. That's one thing I noticed. Just absolutely nothing phased him. He was like, oh yeah, like this thing that was happening. It was quite stressful and all that. And he was just like, cool, okay. Like he had a really cool Zen approach. I really liked it.
Yeah. Finland is like the Japan of Scandinavia.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I was also talking to DJ Cryptomatic on Twitter last night, and because he was talking about, he had some picture where he was drinking a stein of beer with another hexagon, and then I was like, oh, that looks awesome, because I guess it's like summer in Europe and all this, and it's freezing here. Yeah. So, and I was like,
well, you're freezing.
And he said, yeah, it is. It's like 20 degrees Celsius, so
It's
it's cold
20
for me.
degrees outside and it's summer here. I'm like sweating when I
Yeah,
go out.
yeah,
Oh my
I'm
God,
freezing,
it's
man.
20 degrees.
So yeah, our summer's like 40 degrees plus, for
Yeah,
like,
I know. I was in
a
Australia for a
week.
couple of months in the early 2000s.
Oh, awesome.
I was right next to the city where Sammy Chica lives.
Oh, okay.
Like
Well,
maybe
Melbourne is
15 minutes from where Sammy lives is
yeah, that's
where
cold for
I live.
me. Like if I get out of I go to Melbourne and I'm like, the hell? I'm in Antarctica. What's going on here?
So you're
I'm just
somewhere
not
up
used to it.
north.
Well, no, just in Perth, which is on the west coast, but it's just a
Oh,
higher
okay.
latitude. So,
Yeah, so almost
it's
tropical over there.
well, no, not well, no,
It's not
I
like
not I
Darwin.
can't claim that. Yeah, it's temperate. It's a good. We're just outside the desert, so
Oh man,
it could be worse.
I
But
can't imagine.
it's
I can't imagine, man. Like, yeah, you should
well,
come over
yeah, that
here during the winter, dude. Like, I could show you some shit you've never seen, and
oh,
it's quite
100%.
interesting. It's quite interesting to live in a place where you just go outside for weeks on end, and you never see the sun.
Oh
Like,
wow, yeah, I
oh,
was
I
gonna
see it
ask.
like almost at the horizon, but then it went down. It's a good
Wow,
thing. It's
and,
the full moon.
no shit. So how
Yeah.
many weeks of darkness can you get
I think like a
in
couple of
the
weeks
winter?
where it hardly comes up at all. There's a few nights of
Oh
complete darkness around Christmas time, and it's the same in
wow,
the opposite in summer. So like it's really hard for me to fall asleep again because when I go to bed like 1 or 2 o'clock
wow.
at night, the fucking
Yep,
sun shines through the hallway straight into my
it just never goes
eyeball, and
down.
I'm like, oh
Oh
man. I'll send
yeah,
you a video from like
that's brutal. No,
last night
yeah,
or something.
I can't even I can't comprehend it because like I've only seen snow once, um, and yeah, we just have like you know I would say like 10 hours or probably more of sunlight a day. So, but then it's just completely dark. So we don't have that sort of days and days of sunlight or darkness. So that yeah, that is mentally like trippy.
Yeah,
And so yeah, uh, DJ was talking about this Bavarian beer, and I was saying, oh yeah, it's good. And he said it's the best beer in the world. And I said, oh, is it better than a bush chook? So that's our local emu
yeah,
export they call it a bush chook. So for some reason we call chickens like hens and whatever roosters. We just call them chooks. I'm not quite
yeah.
sure why we call them chooks. So then the emu is of course it's just a bush chook, right? Like it's just a big chicken
Hilarious.
from the fucking
Yeah,
bush.
yeah,
So it's a bush chook. So that's the name
yeah,
of our beer. Like you go, oh, you get a slab of bush chooks.
yeah,
Um, but then we also have bin chickens, right? Which are like these ibises. The bird,
yeah,
an ibis.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And we call them bin chickens. So I don't
Why
know why we don't call them bin
do
chook.
they rummage around garbage cans or
Yeah, they're
something?
always at the tip and always
Yeah,
just eating out of bins and shit. So the
yeah.
dirty bin chickens.
I don't know
So
what I don't know what is up with your birds and the singing. Like it's like you guys got the worst ones from like Birds Got Talent show. Like all the crappy ones got
yeah,
sent
yeah,
to
they're always.
Australia. Like I just sent
The,
you a video from I think it was last night when I recorded it in like
oh wow.
close to my backyard
Oh,
without like exposing myself. And it's
gotcha.
all kinds of birds singing. Like I don't know any of them because we've only lived this far from the city for a couple of years. But it's like the forest is full of like birds singing.
Awesome.
Basically they're shouting threats at each other, but it sounds really nice. But when I was in Australia and I heard your guys' birds singing, I was like, somebody's fucking with me. Like, there's no way
Yeah,
birds sound so ridiculous. Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I've got this one that's outside of my house, which I always hear. It sounds like there's like a car alarm, and there's like a car. I swear it's mimicking the sound of the wireless entry into your car. So the beep beep and the
Yeah.
beep 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 beep, and it's like it does that, and you kind of going, "Are you shitting me?" And then you get the kookaburras, which are just laughing their ass off at you, and
Yeah.
you're kind of
Yeah.
going, "What's he laughing at?" So, but yeah, the Ibis thing was funny because we went to this Egyptian museum thing the other day, and they had all the like sun god Ra and the Osiris, I think it was, and my little kids were like, "Oh, look, Dad, they had bin chickens back there." Like with all the Egyptian, like,
Yeah.
and they had a mummified bin chicken, like a mummified
Ibis.
ibis. And they're
Oh,
like, but they said it
nice.
really loud because it was quiet, and there's all
Yeah.
mummies and stuff. So it's kind of, they're like, Dad, there's like a bin chicken, a mummified bin chicken. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have told them that.
That's freaking cool. How old are your
Yeah,
kids?
it's pretty funny. 2 and 6.
Oh, that's the fun part. It's hilarious when they start talking and their sort of the sense of humor and all that stuff starts to pop up. It's
sure.
fucking hilarious. Mine are
Yeah, it's
like
amazing to see the.
mine are like 12, and then I've got twins that are 10. They turn 11 this Christmas.
Cool.
A girl and
That's
a
awesome.
boy.
That you can,
Twins.
that's cool. So you can have fun and actually go places and stuff. They're old enough to want to go.
Well,
out and play.
yeah. It doesn't.
Cool.
Age doesn't bring any kind of wisdom, I've noticed. But they're good. They know how to behave, and they make me proud. They're really cool kids.
Awesome. They keep you young as well, I think.
Oh
sometimes.
yeah.
Keep you on your toes.
It's funny
Awesome.
when I say that I have twins, a girl and a boy. Often people ask if they're identical.
Yeah, but yeah,
like,
okay.
A girl, and I'm like, well, the girl is identical, the boy is not.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what?
That's
Oh yeah, now I get it, man. They can't be.
Yeah, people don't think that you can have non-identical twins anyway, but the fact that they're different genders would have been the giveaway.
Yeah, should be.
Cool, man. I better jet because I've got a friend I've got to catch up with down the pub this afternoon. So, but yeah, awesome to chat to you. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thanks for inviting me,
really,
man.
Of course. Yeah, we've always chatted in the chats and things, and it's good to chat to you finally on stream. And hopefully we can do it again. That would be awesome.
And I would love to do it like face to face at some point. I don't know how you guys
for sure.
Like,
man.
How's it with is it still mandatory over there?
I don't think so. I think that's all sort of blown over now. Everyone's forgotten about it conveniently.
The Russians cured us. How did that happen?
Yeah. We're onto some other new catastrophe like climate change or whatever.
Oh, did you see all the US intelligence agencies got attacked by a huge denial of service attack just a few hours ago?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
DDoS. No, I didn't hear that. No.
I'm really looking forward to getting my internet driver's license or whatever you're gonna call it, because this shit is they're gonna try to take it away soon. This is just going as Klaus planned. He spoke about this a few months ago, as it happens.
He is an absolute Bond villain. He's a Bond villain for me.
Yeah.
Like, you just look at him and you're just thinking, all he needs is the cat, right?
Yeah.
Just to stroke in the cat.
Dresses up like you've seen him with the weird cape thing on. Like, what the hell, man?
I try not to. I haven't. I don't think I've seen him with a cape, but I try not to, because it's like it just gets me worked up because these
and
guys are
besides we wanna get more subs to your channel, so we should keep this on the on the DMs.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's cool, man. I'm not fussed. I don't really care that much. You can chat about whatever, but yeah, I was just thinking like these guys for the WEF and all of that, they're unelected, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, they're bragging about how they've got cabinet members, all around the world and all this stuff. And
in
it's
all
like,
the
this
countries.
is a threat, like a national security threat. Like,
It
shouldn't be
is.
bragging
It
about
is.
that.
Yeah.
So,
And
but anyway,
yeah, we'll continue about this the
I'd
next
love to
time.
chat to you about this over a beer. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah. Hey,
Awesome. But yeah,
thanks
good to
for
chat to
having
you.
me, man. I'm gonna hop out
My
and
pleasure.
let you wrap up by yourself, and I'll be
okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Finbear. Thanks very much, man. Catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Drop a like and subscribe, or get the fuck out.
That's awesome. I like that. I think that was that a Matty Allen thing or someone else? It's like either like it or fuck off. I don't know. It was pretty funny. But yeah, thanks very much, everyone, for watching, and please leave any comments in the comments. Excuse me, and please come in next time as well, and in the chat. I didn't check the chat much this time, but it's always good to have people engaged and stuff like that. So thank you for that, and it would be really cool if you could give us ideas for things that you want to check out. So like, even if I was thinking about doing a few how-to videos if about how to use the bridge or whatever. Awesome. Finver's in the thing there. That's wicked. So yeah, if people like want to know how to do whatever, I don't know, farms. I mean, I guess we just covered that, bridging, whatever it is. Sometimes I don't know what other people might be struggling with, particularly new people. So that's why I need people to say like, we need this something looked at. So please leave the comments. Awesome. Like and subscribe. Thanks very much, guys. Rock on. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks, Vin.